Many of them do not have support for their waterworks. Many of them do not have irrigation. Many of them do not have farm-to-market roads. Many of them rely on the local usurer for credit assistance in terms of planting their crops. So that therefore, when a mining company comes in with all of this money and informing them that they are offering all of these services in exchange for doing mining activities in their area, I don't think that the consent that is given is really a genuine consent.
In 1997, the Philippine government passed a new piece of legislation called the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, or IPRA. This legislation recognized the rights of indigenous people to their land and development as they see fit. Before a mining company can do business, they need to get free, prior, and informed consent from the community.
Obviously, this is different from the system under the Philippine Mining Act, where it's government that decides, and then it goes back to the communities to get a ratification of what its decision is.
But barely after 1 year, mining companies are intensely lobbying for declaring IPRA unconstitutional.
My concern really as a Filipino, more than a miner, is that, will it in fact achieve the objective that it is supposed to achieve, which is to encourage development in IP areas? Or is it really meant to keep them undeveloped? It's not really for me to say how they should handle their own lands and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's really for our lawmakers to decide. But there is a conflict, though, as I said, in terms of ownership of mineral resources, which raises a question mark about DIPRA. There's a question mark as to how that whole law, which is unwieldy, will ever be implemented. And therefore, there's a real serious question as to whether or not that law will indeed contribute to the development of the IPs as they see fit.
In fact, that was one of the questions of Felix. Don't you like us to develop your property, to explore it again? And they offered 5 million for exploration agreement. And I told them, I'm not authorized. I would have to get the consensus of the members of the clan. And that's, I think, what the mining companies are talking about when they say that consensus as defined in the IPRA law is very unwieldy. Mining companies, especially Felix, are never truthful. They would never tell you where the biggest ore body is. They would not show you their technical reports. Their cards are never laid on the table.
Information reaching the people on the mining issue is limited and more often filtered. It is only when the mine gets established that they experience the impact. In Kasibu, one mining company is circulating propaganda materials like these coloring books for children, explaining all about what's a mine. The alternative sources of info are NGOs and concerned citizens. The government, however, mostly takes the role of broker agency on the side of the mining company. How can mining ever become sustainable without the consent of the people?
My premise here in defining sustainable mining is that right now we need to know the resources, and in terms of geological prospectivity, we need to explore and determine these resources for the benefit of the country. So we need to look into this and for the benefit of and extract it wisely, properly, through responsible mining, through continuous exploration and determination which areas are mineralized or not. Operations are in the mine includes 24 hours a day, and there has to be self-regulation on the end of the company. We, in fact, are instituting what we refer to as a code of conduct.
But taking up my technical capabilities, UPI's technical capabilities per se, I don't have any mining engineer here. So how could we monitor, evaluate the activity which in the first place you don't have any technical capabilities?
In 1996, there was the Marcopper disaster, a major one. But this was not the first, neither will it be the last. While the industry spares no effort to polish its image, Trends and changes happening to the mining industry are zooming in on the community's acceptability of large-scale commercial mining.
If you think of damage, if you think of siltation, flooding, if you quantify that, you do an accounting, it's the advantage which we have generated there is much more. The people who expound on these issues are at it 24 hours a day. No, that's their main job, and we often ask ourselves why. No, and if you look at the record, what have they done? No, what improvement have they contributed?